Regeneration project in Winchester causes divide. Students left feeling isolated at universities. And launch of mass testing to get students home for Christmas. Good afternoon and welcome to Winchester News Online. I'm Cara Simmons. It promises to be one of the biggest developments Winchester has ever seen. The Central Regeneration Project aims to transform the city centre, but it proves to be very controversial. Over the next 2 weeks, we are going to look at this project in detail. This week, our reporter Lexi Dutton speaks to one of the main critics of the plan.
The Winchester Regeneration Project has been going on for many years now, and the City Council want to restore the centre with new high-quality homes, better workspaces and improved travel. But not everyone agrees with the way that the project is being handled. There are people who aren't on board and have concerns about how the council are dealing with it.
My starting point is that this is a fabulous opportunity for the city to carry out regeneration, and that would involve primarily civic space. It would involve housing, workspace, all sorts of things. But development is a very complicated matter, and you do have to know what you're doing. And I just feel that the way the council is going now is not going to get us there to a successful scheme.
People who oppose the plan are worrying about how much attention the council are putting into underappreciated buildings, the development and archaeology being put into these, and the funding to complete everything in their vision.
And these are complicated processes, and you do have to know what you're doing. And I can just see as clear as day that the council is heading in the wrong direction again. The problem with the current proposal is that the council is going to have to invest £3 or £4 million, which it doesn't have.
So with a plan that's been going on for many years, with the different changes that keep being made, there's quite a mixed opinion from the people of Winchester. Lexi Dutton, Winchester News Online.
Eastleigh Football Club offered free school meals to children over half-term. Ellie Dixon reports.
Last week, the House of Commons voted against providing meals for children over October half-term. Since the decision, many organisations have decided to help their communities by providing free meals to children in their area. I'm here at Eastleigh Football Club, where they're setting up their restaurant as Boise's Bistros for the night and offering children free dinners.
We want to help the community. We sort of sat down and Kenny, one of the owners, came in and he said, look, we've got to do something here. Wrongly, people get stigmatised when they come to stuff like this because, people think, oh, we can't afford it. Well, actually, we haven't targeted those families who can't afford it. We're just saying for everybody across the board.
Footballer Marcus Rashford has been petitioning for the cause since summer. So far, the campaign has gained over 1 million signatures. The petition asks the government to allocate more money to expand free school meals to all under 16s where their parent or guardian receives universal credit. The funding would also go towards providing meals and activities during the holidays and increasing the value of Healthy Start vouchers to at least £4.25 per week. Steve Bryan also gave a comment to Winol on this issue.
People contact me and go, why did you vote against Marcus Rashford's bill? Why did you vote against feeding hungry children? It was an opposition day motion in the House of Commons. It makes not a jot of difference to the law of the land. There was plenty in place through the uplift in universal credit, through the £63 million fund that was put in place through local councils, and Hampshire received £1.07 million to help with children on free school meals in Hampshire during the holiday time. So there's plenty in place.
It's clear to see that despite the government's decision, many communities are pulling together to make sure the children in their area get the food they need. I'm Eleanor Dixon, reporting for Winchester Online.
We are nearing the end of the latest coronavirus lockdown, with national restrictions set to ease on Wednesday the 2nd of December. The government has planned a Christmas travel window for students to return home in December, which for Winchester is between the 3rd and the 9th. But is the government and universities' response a one-size-fits-all approach? Alex Smith reports.
The government has provided students with a week-long period to return home. However, the student union thinks this may not fit every student.
I think the real big issue is that not all students are the same. The government is definitely treating all students as if they're your typical 18-year-old with a privileged family that can either come get you or you can afford the 3 times amount of train fares or whatever fare you need to go home. And that's not typically the case. We have students that have part-time work, that can't go home, that don't have necessarily a home to go to, international students. There's so many different scenarios that the government aren't thinking of right now, and I think where the university have to follow the government guidelines, they're not necessarily taking the moral stance to be with our students right now. They're taking more of a legal stance and a government stance, which I don't necessarily agree with.
The university has been drawing criticism on its coronavirus response since a video a student made went viral.
They don't understand what it's truly like for students. They don't understand how this has come crashing down on us, how we are having to sit in a room with our university and then somehow blend that with our personal life, when we've been told from day one, even when we're doing our GCSEs, don't do it in your room, because then you won't have a separation, which will mean a deterioration of mental health.
I reached out to the university's press team, but they haven't had the time to respond yet. However, on their website, it states that the university remains open. There are measures in place to keep the campus safe, and that the continued health, welfare and safety of our students, staff and global community is our #1 priority. However, the question still remains, is their response good enough?
It's very difficult to say because obviously we're the student union. I don't think they're listening to the student voice. I don't think they're giving students a chance to speak, and they're not answering what students want to know. At the end of the day, we know that the pandemic is a very difficult situation for all people, but we're at a university, we care about our students. Students are paying fees to come here. We should be able to facilitate what they need and what they want in a global pandemic, and I don't think the university is answering to that right now.
Alex Smith, Winchester News Online.
Many students are feeling isolated at university due to the current pandemic. One of our reporters contracted the virus and had to isolate for 10 days. Here's Ginny Turner with her experience on having COVID and what the university did to help.
There are now over 1 million cases of coronavirus in the UK, and as we go into a second lockdown, blame has been placed on students, politicians and schools. But what is it really like to have coronavirus? My flatmates and I tested positive for COVID-19 1 week before lockdown commenced. Here's what it was like.
So my symptoms were that I lost my smell and my taste.
Yeah, at the beginning of isolation I also lost my smell and taste, but then I also felt really weak and achy towards the end. Quarantine's actually been quite good because we're all friends and we live together. It's been quite easy to play games with each other and get drunk.
Cook some meals together and just keep ourselves busy.
I know a couple of friends that have had to self-isolate by themselves, and it's been really hard on them.
Yeah, I think we're lucky that we're all in the same boat, that we all had tested positive. Otherwise you might feel like a bit isolated or have to stay in your room compared to other people.
I think the government provided us with a lot of support, as the NHS track and trace system called us every day to see how well we were doing.
Yeah, I think the university could have done a bit more though. We only got added to a Teams group chat and they didn't do anything else.
Yeah, I know friends from other unis who got food boxes from their uni, which we didn't get.
While students may not be deemed at serious risk against the virus, there are other consequences of the pandemic. Being isolated at university without family and friends can take its toll on mental health. Winchester University's Student Union have recognised the current situation, saying that the COVID-19 outbreak could trigger compulsive thoughts and behaviours. Now, more than ever, we need the universities to step up and reach out to their students. I'm Ginny Turner, Winchester News Online.
This year's holiday season for some students might not be the same as usual. Anila Leva reports.
One of the biggest family holidays is just around the corner, but this year holiday season for some students might not be the one they wished for. With the mass testing taking place from 30th of November to 6th of December, students who test positive for the virus will have to take repeated tests and isolate if tested positive again, meaning that they would not be able to go home as soon as it was planned.
The things I struggle the most with now would be being in the same place all the time. It's being in my room all the time, having the same room as my place to relax and at the same time study. And the most exciting thing I do right now is go to work.
Being in isolation alone with some university work still left to do can be very stressful. So it is important to stay connected with your friends and family.
Student travel window will be open for universities across the country from 3rd to 9th of December, making sure students can travel home safely. with the Winchester date still to be confirmed. This is Annie Eleleva, Winchester News Online.
And finally, our reporter Ellie Clout has the latest on the coronavirus vaccine.
COVID researchers were given the task of making the Oxford vaccine at least 50% effective. Currently, the vaccine averages at 70% effectiveness, but this could rise to 90% if people are given a half dose, followed by a full dose 1 month later. The reasoning behind this is not yet clear, but it could be a better way of kick-starting the immune system into action. So how has this vaccine become almost available in such a short space of time? With a massive global effort to find vaccines for coronavirus, as well as a large amount of funding, the vaccine has gone through the usual testing, but this was streamlined for a quicker result. Currently, more than 10,000 people have had the vaccine without any serious concerns. Side effects can include getting a sore arm, as well as feeling flu-like symptoms for a few days. And how have they made it so quickly? There are several strains of coronavirus, including the common cold. So scientists have studied them for years and therefore were able to identify potential weak spots. The main question on everyone's minds is when will we get the vaccine? It still has to be approved by the regulator, but there are around 4 million doses ready to be shipped out once given approval. This means some could be having the jab by Christmas. The UK government has ordered 100 million doses of the Oxford vaccine, which will be enough to vaccinate most of the population. The first doses will be going to those most vulnerable, such as people in care homes and healthcare workers. Then it will become available to others during the rest of winter, leading into the spring.
That's all for this week. Thank you for watching.